When it comes to discussing the realities of parenting, you can expect some sensitive material and occasional profanity.
Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Anonymous Mom, a podcast where two childhood friends reconnect to discuss mom life, adulting, and everything in between.
And today we're talking about the importance of alone time.
And as an introvert, this is my jam because
I think I'm an introvert extrovert. I don't know.
You're a Gemini.
Yeah, I mean, I'm both.
My Gemini rising gets people confused that I'm an extrovert because when I'm social. Mm-hmm. But in my heart and in my soul, I'm a Pisces, which means I just want to be left alone.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I need it.
Yeah.
And I currently don't have it. I'm getting it back, which is good. But I will say that there was a chunk of that missing from my life.
Well, and I think too, having kids, the amount of alone time you get is typically null and void, especially at your daughter's age, because you're at the age
they're
where
still
it's
attached.
Right. With my kids being the age they are, like I can get alone time a lot easier. Like they can stay home by themselves, so I can go to the grocery store to get my alone time or go to Home Goods like I do weekly, which I haven't been there in a while. They're probably wondering where I'm at. So
they're putting out
go there
like
this week.
Missing posters.
Yeah.
Happy to see this woman. Yeah, I love that place though. Oh my God. Do you go to the one that's connected to the TJ Maxx? Or are they all connected to a TJ Maxx?
No, that one's in Sun Prairie. I usually go to the West Side and Greenway because then I can hit up Michael's for all of my crafting needs. Because when I craft, I don't half-ass craft. I like get every possible thing you need to like do it. But there's other things that I do that I half-ass and I'm like, why can't I just do it like I craft?
Yeah.
But crafting is a part of my alone time. What do you like to do for your alone time when you have alone time?
So that's something I want to highlight is it's going to look different
for everybody.
For everybody.
Mm-hmm. And it should, as it should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't really know. I have to think about it because it's been so long. Before I had a child, when I was childless, my alone time was just binging TV, writing. Honestly, this might sound weird, but just laying in silence and thinking.
Yeah.
I can do that for kind of a long time.
But I think that's good. I mean, yeah. See, if I did that, I'd start crying. Every terrible thing I've ever done. And
I'm going to get to the importance of doing that because it is important for you to face that stuff. But
right.
As we said, especially for parents, when there's a life force connected to you that you cannot escape, it's kind of hard to find that alone time. But that stresses just how important it is.
Yes.
So we're going to start with some information from psychiatrist Sherry Borg Carter. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. They write for Psychology Today that, quote, in today's constantly connected world, finding solitude has become a lost art. We tend to equate a desire for solitude with people who are lonely, sad, or have antisocial tendencies. But seeking solitude can actually be quite healthy. In fact, there are many physical and psychological benefits of spending time alone, end quote. Before I was a parent, I always did feel judged or questioned for wanting to be alone. But socializing, it's honestly just really draining for me. It's not that I don't enjoy it. I just enjoy it in small doses.
Right. And you've always been that way. I mean, since I can remember, you've always, and we have known each other, just to clarify, we have known each other for an extremely long time. Like, it's not like we just met a few days ago.
Yeah.
We've known each other since middle school, minimal.
I think elementary.
Elementary, yes. But I think more middle school, high school is when we
closeness,
closeness
for sure.
came. Yes. I mean, yes, I've known you since elementary because we all went to the
I was going to say,
school.
I'm like, weren't we in the same kindergarten class?
Yes, I think we were. And so
we were for sure in the same second grade class because I vividly remember that circus play we had to do.
Yes. Who did you have for second grade?
Mrs.
I didn't have Miss.
Oh shit.
I had Miss for second grade.
Did we mesh classes to do that?
I had for third grade. I had Miss. No, for kindergarten is when you did the parade. Is when we did the circus.
Is that when we did it?
Yeah.
I don't remember who our kindergarten teacher was though. Do you?
This is gonna go to my backstory a little bit. It's gonna make me sad. I had to go to kindergarten twice. So I got to do the circus twice.
Go on and say why you...
They didn't have 4K back in the day. I just really needed 4K.
She's highlighting the importance of 4K right now.
Yes, I had to go to kindergarten twice. Oh my gosh.
Well, didn't you too?
Be a whole nother.
Wasn't part of it because you were telling time by the clock and you were trying to cheat, and so you went from 12 to 1?
So that just shows my street smarts
Yes.
They told me to count to 25 and I looked at the clock, I counted to 12 and started over again. And so therefore they were like, nope, you can't go to that first grade.
You were thinking outside the box. They should have praised you.
I was, yes, they should have, but nope. So I got to do the circus twice. So I'm trying to find the benefits of going to kindergarten twice. And it's embarrassing because I remember in school, they like put up a picture of like the kindergarten classes for the year above us. And I was in the picture and it was so embarrassing. And I'm like, oh, yep, now there I am, the girl that had to go to kindergarten twice. And there's a club for the girls that go to kindergarten, or for the kids that go to kindergarten twice. I am starting it because I know there's more kids than just me. I know. I've gone to kindergarten twice, but I'm not going to shame myself for it. It's okay.
No.
No.
Well, I know I do remember, especially in high school, times where you guys would call and I'd just be like, tell them I'm sleeping. Because I just couldn't. I just couldn't. And like I said, it's not that I don't appreciate and love my friendships. It's that I just I'm not meant to be social all the time. I'm just not.
Right. And I feel like
I shouldn't feel ashamed of it either.
No, you know? And I think you were very aware of it when you were younger. Like I was not aware. Like alone time to me meant, oh my God, no one likes me.
That's the stigma.
Right. I had FOMO so bad when I was in school. So like alone time was not doable for me.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older, oh my God, I will be like, nope, it's windy outside. I should stay home.
Have you seen the meme Jomo, the joy of missing out?
Yes, I have a book called that. And my oldest literally is Joe, whatever that is. She is not a FOMO kid. Like she does not care about
She's a Jomo.
She's a Jomo. That's now how I am. But yes, back in the day, not so much. You were very attuned to that at a young age. I was not until I had kids. And also when I met my husband and then getting married, he did things on certain nights. So like he would have pool or dart league. That was amazing to me. I was like, sweet, bye. But I also lived by myself after I turned 18. So, or 19. Yeah. So I had a lot of alone time as I got older.
Yeah, I love it.
I do.
So
I do.
Let's talk about the benefits because we're going to get to a lot of benefits. First, we're just going to start with the overall benefits for everyone. Solitude allows you to reboot your brain and unwind. Constantly being on doesn't give your brain a chance to rest and replenish itself. Being by yourself with no distractions gives you a chance to clear your mind, focus, and think more clearly. It's an opportunity to revitalize your mind and your body at the same time. A lot of these are going to connect to the alone time with chores that we discussed, which I think is pretty interesting. But I even have a book for my daughter that talks about the importance of sleep for that reason and decluttering your mind. And you got to take out the trash in your mind and have like a nice clean brain for the next day. The next one is solitude helps to improve concentration and increase productivity. So when you remove as many distractions and interruptions as you can from your day, you are better able to concentrate, which will help you get more things done in a shorter amount of time. So this is a time where I think that we work against ourselves because we think that we just have to keep going, but we're actually being less productive if we don't take those 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to just sit and decompress.
Yep.
Which, I mean, we're all at fault for that. So then also solitude gives you an opportunity to discover yourself and to find your voice. When you're a part of a group, you're more likely to go along with what the group is doing or thinking, which isn't always the actions you would take or the decisions you would make if you were on your own.
Which is true. I mean, let's be for real.
I mean, think about cults. You're never alone in a cult.
Right. Okay. Way to go to the extreme, but let's just take it back a notch.
Hey, I work for a true crime podcast. It's kind of just like,
I'm kidding, but I mean, also it's the same thing too. Like when you're in a work situation and you're at a meeting and you're like, I like that idea.
Be a cult too. There's cult-like mentality in workplaces.
You go back to your office and you're like, gosh, I really don't agree with that, but cult, that's.
Anyways, so then solitude provides time for you to think deeply, which I think we already addressed. Yep. Solitude helps you work through problems more effectively. Those things that we were talking about with chores, the mindless chores that you can turn your brain off, you can also consider that as alone time.
Yeah.
So then solitude can enhance the quality of your relationships with others. I do think that, like, when I have that alone time, I appreciate my relationships more.
Well, and
Where
I'm
if
just
I'm
a
being
better
pulled, it's
Yes.
like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I am just a better person after I've had my alone time.
Mhm.
I feel more like energized, and being like an empath. I think when you're out and you're doing stuff, you take on so
Yes.
much. So I need the alone time to get all of that shit off of me and just like
Mhm.
ground myself. And I'm working this year on grounding myself a lot more because of this reason. Like I love the alone time, but I don't think I'm utilizing it all the time as well as much as
Yeah.
I should be. So
And by spending time with yourself and gaining a better understanding of who you are and what you desire in your life, you're more likely to make better choices about who you want to be around. You may also come to appreciate your relationships more after you've spent some time alone. So you're less likely to wind up in a cult. If you
yep. 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 What I can say doing this, I will say that when I have had my alone time, like I said, I feel like it makes me a better person. But I
Mhm.
also do, when they said it makes you appreciate, I do appreciate my husband after he's away for a little bit. I'm like, oh God, I do really love him a lot. I do really
Mhm.
like him. And then when I'm away from my kids, I'm like, oh, they're so sweet. I do really
Yeah.
like them.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder.
It
That's
does. And
a
I will
saying
say
for a reason.
110% that is true over here at our house.
Yeah. So what are the signs that you should look for that indicate that you do need some alone time? Well, Kendra Cherry writes that some signs might include feeling short-tempered, getting easily irritated by sometimes minor things, losing interest in doing things with other people, feeling overwhelmed or overstimulated, having trouble concentrating, and getting anxious about spending time with other people. Now, when you look at this through the lens of parenting, it really puts things into context. I mean, especially that feeling short-tempered and getting easily irritated.
Mm-hmm. Well, I put myself on timeouts. Kids
Yeah,
are driving me crazy.
I need to do that more.
I go, you guys, I need to go on timeout because I'm going to lose my shit and I'm going to say things I don't mean. So I'm going to go in my bedroom and just shut the door for a little bit.
And you're teaching them, always putting in the frame that you are an example for your children. How do you want them to act with people in these situations?
Right.
So obviously we know too that all these things, with having alone time can sound really nice, but as a parent, and especially a single parent, I can speak for this, like finding alone time can be extremely difficult, especially when your children are younger. And not only single parents, we can put into context, you can see a picture, like not to get dark again, but you can see a picture of a happy family smiling. That doesn't mean that they're happy.
And let's be for real. I think there's a lot more that happens behind closed doors that we know about.
Yes.
And sometimes the mom is the one that's taking on all of it. So they
It's
never really get
expected.
right. So it is like being a single parent when
Yes,
your
it can
husband
be.
or significant other doesn't help you out
If
or
people
allow
aren't
you to
helping
have
you,
that.
yes,
Right.
yes.
And there's couples, I think we all know a few that their significant other doesn't allow them the alone time because that's just how they feel like shit should be. And oh my God, I would lose my goddamn shit if that was my
because
situation.
they've been taught that.
Right.
Especially with social media, you see these pictures of smiling families, and again, not to get dark, but family annihilators, a lot of them have those pictures of, the professional family photos of everybody smiling.
Mm-hmm.
You might see a person who you think has, the quote life because they're a stay-at-home parent. But if you don't have alone time, that shit builds up and it's not healthy.
Well, and I think
everybody
especially
needs alone time.
Well, and speaking from someone who went from like being a working mom to a stay-at-home mom, and now like I would consider myself part-time stay-at-home, it is the loneliest job I've ever had in my whole entire life, being a stay-at-home mom. I will say it was so lonely and depressing because of I love my alone time, so it was great, but then all of my friends work, so I can't be like, hey, let's go for coffee, let's go do that, so like sometimes too much alone time can I honestly make you feel like,
oh yeah, I mean, for me, I wouldn't have an issue with that.
No, you'd be fine
for somebody
for somebody like me, I need,
like you, yes, exactly.
I do need that outside stimulation of like, okay, there's other people out there. And don't get me wrong, there's certain days where I'm like, I'm so glad I do not have to be around anybody. But I also know like on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I have to go and be completely overstimulated at work. When you're talking to people all day long, you don't get alone time when you're
and too much
working.
Alone time isn't good for anybody.
No.
Yeah. So as much as I enjoy it, I know that there's a limit to being alone.
That's when I make you join me for coffee and be like, get out of the house. We're going for coffee.
Yeah. All right. So I also found an article from Romper written by Abby Berwager Schreier and Ashley Jones, which was entitled The Benefits of Alone Time for Moms is Crucial. And this will be linked with all of our other sources as well. So I highly suggest everyone reads it. But here are some of the highlights. Their first point is that nurturing goes both ways. They say you can only take care of others as well as you take care of yourself. I honestly don't necessarily agree with this though, because that's why I don't have alone time, is because I am only nurturing my child. And not saying that that's healthy or okay, but if they put it in the context of what I was saying before, as you're setting an example for your children, and if you don't take time for yourself, how do you expect them to find taking time for themselves in a positive manner?
Right. Well, and also teaching kids, and I guess I don't know if this is kind of the same direction you're going, but like teaching kids to play by themselves, I think is really healthy. If you're saying you need some alone time, then be like, why don't you go over here and play by yourself for a little bit? Because I think when kids constantly have to have someone playing with them, leads to a whole nother.
Oh, that's, I mean, for brain development, you need to, for creativity and problem solving, you need to be independent. Last night, the episode I was editing was way longer than I anticipated. And so I was doing it and wanted me to play. I'm like, you have to play by yourself right now. And so I want to find better ways too of saying it in a way that it's benefiting her, that I'm not taking away from her, but this is actually good for you to do this. Yeah. And she did end up finding something to do, but it was only after I ignored her.
Right. Well, but also too, kids have to learn how to be flipping bored. I think it so much turns into being entertained.
Overstimulation.
Yes. And it's also constantly being like, whenever they say, Mom, we should jump.
I know.
Like, that's not how the world works.
That's my fault.
Yeah. I'm always like, you do realize you have a dad in this household and he's home today. So when you say mom, instead of saying mom, say dad, because you're not. Okay. But this reminds me of, you have to put your oxygen mask on first.
To help others.
Help others.
And that's the thing too, is, well, like I said, when you said it as putting into context, you want your children to be able to enjoy that. I mean, you feel the anxiety because probably your parents didn't have that time or didn't enjoy that time, and it's because their parents didn't either. When you come from a family where the work ethic is so strong,
which is good, but also so like bad.
It has faults. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Everything in life is about balance. And so teaching that to your kids, like I'll say, for instance, okay, it's really hard for me to find alone time. One day I was like, I'm going to take a bath. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but for me to find time to take a bath is really difficult. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put a movie on for her in my bed and I'm going to take a bath. And I told her that. I was like, you know what? I'm like, Mama's going to take a bath. And she got so excited for me.
Oh,
she's like, oh, you're taking a bath. And she like came in to check on me. And she's like, how are you doing? And here, take my bath toys. And she wanted me to use her bath toys. I mean, it was seriously like, obviously I got emotional.
No.
But I had my phone, I listened to my YouTube videos and I decompress, and it's like, I do need to do that more because I'm always worried about the screen time, but it's like, okay, a little bit more of screen time for her versus what that benefit is for me just taking a bath for 30 minutes. I mean,
the screen time thing, I 100% understand because having older kids, I worry more about screen time with my older kids than I ever did when they were younger, because when they were younger, the screen time they were watching was cartoons and whatever. Now with like screen time, it's like, what are they watching? Like TikToks,
especially
but
TikTok,
right. So every Sunday night I take a bath. Every Sunday night. My kids know that. My husband knows that. They know that they have to be showered during the day. I am not budging on that. And I probably sound like an extremely selfish person, but no, I don't care. I am not budging on that because to me, that is something that I look forward to every week. My husband is in charge of bedtime that night too, because I don't have to do that every night. Yeah,
and you shouldn't feel shame about that. So that's the thing,
I feel no fucking shame about
a lot of people do.
And they do. And I get people that are like, oh, that's so awesome you get to do that. I think now the older that I've gotten and the more that I know I am teaching my kids.
Yes.
Especially having girls. I want to teach them the alone time is important, but also taking care of yourself and not having shame. I think I had so much shame for so long that now I'm like, I'm not zero fucks about it because I don't think zero fucks is safe either. Yeah. But I just don't have shame around things that I used to anymore.
The importance of,
well, and my kids are doing great.
You seem that's like superficial of the shame,
yes, I guess. Yes. I mean, I'm not going to lie. After you've watched a few Brene Brown episodes, you kind of get shame out of the window and understand it.
So
but there is so much shame on self-care and alone time as a mother. That's such a huge thing.
All right. So another thing is that it can prevent resentment. Our to-do lists are never ending as parents, and there's always going to be something to do. Alone time provides perspective. I mean, for me as a writer, being alone in silence for hours, it's amazing.
It's your creative time. Yeah.
Yes.
It's where your brain can wander and think of all the cool things.
Another one I find especially important is that being alone helps you remember who you were before a mom.
Oh my God, yes.
Huge.
Mhm.
Alone time gives you better anger management skills. They say, quote, taking a moment away to allow feelings to cool makes it easier to reflect on the situation and helps us avoid saying or doing something we later regret, which you were just talking about.
Hey, I was gonna say, yay, look at me.
So now, while there are more benefits on this list, I don't necessarily agree with all of them. For instance, they were stating that it's like taking a mini vacay, which I don't think puts it in the proper context, in my opinion. This is for your health. It's not a vacation. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are.
Well, and also too, like, we have to stop saying self-care is going to the grocery store by ourselves. That's bullshit. I mean, yes, if that's what you have to do for self-care, but I don't think that that's a terrible definition of it.
If you don't have time and that's the only time you get, like we said with chores though too, I mean, putting that as alone time, if you don't have alone time, utilizing it as alone time because you literally don't have time, then do it. But to just say that you don't, that's not the only alone time you deserve, no.
Right. I guess, yes, I probably phrased it wrong, which is my life, but
well, whatever. So, another thing to put in perspective is the consequences of not taking time alone. As cited by Dr. Christina Hibbert, those consequences are mental health disturbances like depression, anxiety, burnout, high, and extreme stress, which can lead to physical health disturbances like headaches, backaches, sleep disturbance, greater susceptibility to illness, heart problems, and overall poor health. Now, failing to take care of our needs is also associated with poor parenting practices because it causes greater parenting distress, less patience, less satisfaction and joy in our role as mothers. And yes, it can even result in more extreme discipline. When you think about this in regards to parenting observed in public, it really puts it into perspective. I'm not saying that parents who snap on their kids is okay, but that this is highlighting a bigger part of the issue. And that one thing that's missing from all of us and how important this is, it's not a luxury, it's a necessity. Mm-hmm. But we view this as a luxury.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, viewing going to the grocery store by yourself shouldn't be a lot. Like, that should be like,
that's not a luxury. Yeah.
That's not a luxury. Like, that's, instead of the self-care, that it's just not a luxury. Like, that you have to go to the grocery store no matter what. So,
and I think it also puts into context the generational patterning that causes some people to not be able to do this. Mm-hmm. It's all about breaking these cycles. And we don't necessarily see that. Like, the reason that you're irritable, the reason it's the same as kids, you know?
And also too, and this is, I know we said we'd do an episode on this, but also too, like how women, they seem to think this mom boss is such a big thing.
Yes,
and it's like
toxic,
never, and it's just not helpful when it comes to taking care of yourself. We have to prove whatever. I always say, you don't see men walking around with dad boss fucking hats on. I am sorry. That's not something you see. So it's, as a mom, I feel like we're constantly trying to do all this stuff. And then if we do take a break, then we're not trying as hard as we should, or we're lazy or whatever it is.
Yeah. When we grow up with people who don't take time for themselves, or there's resentment that's projected onto your kids from the lack of time alone, it causes us as adults to either not value alone time or to not feel worthy of it. And that's the thing I think is the most important to highlight, is that not feeling worthy of alone time, which is more of a subconscious thing for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So to end this, we're going to go through some helpful hints for people who are struggling to include alone time in their schedule. So they say, pick a time. Figure out when you'd like to spend time alone, plan that time into your schedule to make sure that you know that you won't be interrupted. One thing that I think is the most important is to turn off social media. Alone time does not include social media.
No.
Work on eliminating distractions, particularly ones that invite social comparisons. Your focus should be on your thoughts and interests and not what other people are doing. Alone time is not jumping on your phone and doing that.
Scrolling.
Yeah. It's getting away from social interaction in all aspects. So plan something. Not everyone is comfortable spending time alone. So you might find it helpful to plan what you want to do. This might involve some relaxation time, exploring a favorite hobby, or reading a book. The other one, which is probably the most beneficial, is taking a walk. Research has found that being outside can have a beneficial impact on well-being. If you're feeling cooped up and stifled from too much social interaction, spending a little time outdoors by yourself, enjoying the change of scenery, can have a restorative effect. The one note I want to say about that is if you live in a neighborhood or a suburb with social neighbors, get in your car and go somewhere. Because I know this is a problem my mom has had in the past where she goes for a walk every day and it's her alone time and she puts on her headphones and she would have neighbors where, oh, hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So things that I've done for my self-care has been, so the pick a time, I try to wake up 45 minutes before my kids so that I have that alone time. And that gets me started on my day. And I don't do it all the time, but it does mentally help me. Another thing too is sometimes getting in your car if your kids are old enough and just going and drive. Like I just go park at a park and just sit there in my car just to have that alone time.
You would be proud of me because I remember you mentioning getting up early and I went to bed early. I set my alarm for an hour and a half before she gets up. I had my coffee. I did notes for this. I was like, okay, do I do notes tonight
Or get up
and wake up normal time or do I wake up early? I'm like, you're going to wake up early. So I did my notes. I worked out while she had breakfast. I didn't have time to shower because of doing the notes, but I still got all that done. And I used to do that.
Yep.
And it's so much more beneficial. You might think you're going to be tired, but that extra
you're
time,
not. It's weird. Like
time.
it's alone, but I'm not tired when I wake up at 5:30. I get up. I know I get my cup of coffee. I know I get my alone time, and there's just something. So it might mean waking up a little bit earlier and even just 10, 15 minutes sometimes and just sit up and just sit in your bed and just be by yourself.
As a parent, that alone time, you might think like, oh, I need that sleep. You're going to benefit more from just waking up and having that silence by yourself before your kids wake up. It's truly beneficial. But that is all the time we have. I see that it says less than 1 minute. So please share your alone time routines with us in the comments and we will talk to you guys next week.
Peace out. Thanks for tuning in to Anonymous Mom. Have a question you want answered or a topic you'd love for us to discuss?
Email us at anonymousmompod@gmail.com. Or if you want to remain anonymous, join our Facebook group, Anonymous Mom, where you can post your topic or question anonymously.
Thanks for listening.